Must be 7. Ready? All right, call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right. Our mayor's under the weather tonight, so she's not going to be here. I think we'll move at this point to the roll call. Ms. Clark?
Mayor Bailey.
Mhm.
Mr. Bateman.
Here.
Mr. Goodyear.
Here.
Mr. Hart.
Here.
Mr. Ori.
Here.
Vice Mayor Phelps.
Here.
Mr. Ping.
Here.
Move to excuse the mayor.
Second.
Call the roll.
Mr. Bateman.
Yes.
Mr. Goodyear.
Yes.
Mr. Hart.
Yes.
Mr. Ori.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Phelps.
Yes.
Mr. Ping.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Okay, well, good evening, everybody. I'll start off by recognizing staff and special guests in attendance. In particular, from my right to the left, we have Mark Mueller, who's our Director of Finance, Chris Weinich, Assistant City Manager, Misty Clark, Clerk of Clerk of Council, Dave Kennedy, our City Manager, and Chief Gabrielson, Police Chief. Anybody missed? Oh, and our city solicitor. Sorry. Oh. Joe Braun. Okay. Other guests in our attendance tonight. We have some former council members in the audience, Todd Osborne, Kent Blair, and Pat Mays. And then we are replete with city and employees. So let me see if I can get them all here correctly. Tonight we have Scott Wisby, who's the Director of Public Works, Sean Hartness, Assistant Director, also from Public Works, Ricky Gregory, Roy Cole, Brian Hood, who's being honored tonight, and Sean Tingelhoff. Then we have some City Hall employees in the audience, Becky Knoll, who's our Building and Zoning Specialist, Krista Rose, Marketing and Communications Coordinator, Mandy Lucas, who is Customer Service Specialist and going to be our new Utility Billing Clerk, and Lisa Craig, our outgoing Utility Billing Clerk. So welcome to everyone. Did I miss anybody? Okay. With that, we have some presentations and announcements to do currently, and I think we'll ask Mr. Wisby and Mr. Hartness to come to the podium. I'll join them.
Okay. So tonight we're here to recognize Brian Hood for 20 years of excellent service. Brian, would you come up? So Brian is part of the backbone of the city. 20 years is a long time, and we've been through it. Never a job that I've ever asked him to do that he would not do, and we do some bad jobs.
Yeah.
I don't mean in quality.
Yeah.
I just mean in inclement
fun.
times and not fun. So I can't say enough about him. I remember when I came, he had a little injury and he was gone. And everybody has a story about Brian Hood. It was when Hood gets back, and I didn't talk to him about this, so I don't know if he remembers or not. I'm sure you do. That pins in his knees or legs and all that nonsense. So anyway, what Hood did, everybody had a little story to tell about him. So I started in 2007, so not to bring up your past pain, but that's when you were recovering. But it was funny. Everybody had a story about him. And when I met the man, I wasn't let down. So he's been a great employee, and he's just a good guy. He's a hometown guy. He lives here. He's lived here for quite a while. But he's a great employee. He's a stone's throw away. He's up on the hill, and call him, he'll be there. And he's just been an exceptional employee, and we very much appreciate him. And I'm
Thank you
glad
so
to be
much.
here part of this.
Thank you so much.
Just that he's a pleasure to work with. You can always call on him for anything.
I didn't say that.
Yeah.
Well, Brian, congratulations for your 20 years, and on behalf of a grateful city council and city, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
I'm able to present to you a couple tokens of
Oh, I got a
appreciation. This is a plaque for you. It says presented on this 26th day of November, but that's not right, is it?
No.
I guess that was your anniversary date.
Yes.
So we're presenting it a little bit later in recognition of 20 years of service. And then there is a special gift for you here.
Okay.
If you want
Want
me to hold this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Nice.
Now I need a desk.
You got some hardware.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank you.
We'll put it on the dashboard of the salt truck.
There you go.
congratulations. And if you would like a picture with your family or friends, we're open to that.
Well, sure. Who wants to take
Let's
a
do it.
picture with me?
I forgot Ted's art. Sure.
Thanks, everybody. Mark and I were going to arm wrestle over who got to take these next two because they're so important to the city, and we decided we both got up and say a few words about Lisa and Mandy. But I think one of the emphases with what Lisa brings and what some other people in this room bring is the behind the scenes people that keep this city ticking, and that is extremely evident with Lisa Craig, our utility billing clerk. I can't tell you enough what it's like to get to work with someone who was born and raised in the community that they work in. It is, you feel it. You feel the passion. She'll certainly, for the record, anyone who lives in the city, she defends your honor whenever we try to raise the water rates to the nth degree. You walk away going, oh crap, what do we do? But it's because she cares about everybody and she cares about this community. I was looking over a little bit of what she is responsible for. The city has almost 5,000 utility billing accounts, close to 40 different rate options. Not only is she taking care of your water, your stormwater, your sewer, and your garbage, they're setting up service. We're changing billing software on her closely as she begins to retire, which might have had something to do with you deciding you wanted to retire. Now that I think about it, it's a little bit of a coincidence, isn't that? But through it all, I was trying to think of what would you say is like the one word that describes Lisa? And I thought, I came up with precision. Ask Lisa about any account. She goes into it, the notes of every conversation, everything they've ever done. It is incredible how you can run every month dealing with what she deals with, the utilities and shutoffs, and coordinate with the guys, which is why another reason they're here today, and getting people out, dealing with water leaks and rereads and meters, and go check this. It's incredible to see all of that go on in the course of a day, and it's just true professionalism along with precision, and it's really been a privilege to get to work with Lisa and of course to call her a friend. I'm going to let Mark get up and say a few words.
And when I first got here, I sure had a lot to learn. I still do, obviously, but starting out, definitely had tons and tons to learn. And I was kind of locked in my desk trying to absorb everything I could, learn the system here. And it was just such a relief to know that I didn't have to worry about what Lisa was doing in the utility billing, that it was going to get done. Every time there was something, it was a door hanger or sending the bills out, I knew it was going to happen. So she took the pressure off of me. I was able to learn what I needed to learn and to get done what I needed to get done. And just having somebody reliable like that is just worth their weight in gold. Well, you might not always get the kudos that, happens with somebody out front or, our cops out in the field. Just being able to rely on you was huge. And I just want to let you know, even though I didn't say it all the time, that's something I really appreciated from you. So thank you.
Lisa, why don't you come forward? And again, congratulations on your great career, and looking forward to your retirement, I'm sure.
Oh, yes.
This might help you. It's a chair for your multiple athletic competitions you go to and watch.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that little fella in the back row. He's one of them.
Okay.
Yes,
That's
I
great.
am. Yes, I am.
Well,
Thank
enjoy
you.
it.
Thank you so much.
Do a picture.
Back up on you.
Without the.
We're getting there. Yeah, we're getting there.
Sorry. We'll make it someday.
Some are slower than others.
Very nice.
So, the sort of the next step with this is Mandy, and I was thinking about Mandy today, and there's a couple of things that stick out, and we see this with some other employees here at City Hall, is when you ask them to do something else. We needed a backup for the payroll. It'd really be nice to have somebody help us with all the procurement, all the stuff that we purchased, and Mandy's the first hand that goes up. But I also think that, I know it sounds a little hokey, but we like to think, and I know Chris took right onto this, that we consider the city a little bit of a 5-star restaurant, and every resident is our customer. And we really and truly do try to treat them with the utmost respect. We listen to them, and we try to make sure that when they leave here, they had a good experience. And I was thinking about Mandy, and if you think about it, you have the range of people that she has that comes through the window, those that are a tad bit on the upset side because their water was shut off, to those that are extremely excited because they just moved into the city and they're starting new service and they want to know about dumpsters, and of course everything in between. And that's what Mandy and the girls up front do on a regular basis. And they always handle it with class. They always handle it with style. and they really are the face of this city, and they keep everything moving. And you wouldn't believe the amount of times that we go up there and we ask them to do something. And it's really, truly, and I'm not exaggerating. I spend more time with these people than I do my own family. They truly are friends, and I think you can rest assured that Lisa and Mandy and Becky and everyone in this room always represent this city the absolute best. You would always be proud if you were here every day to see what they do. I'm gonna let Mark say it.
Kind of echoing Dave, yeah. Sometimes when you ask somebody to do something else, you worry, are they going to say, that's not my job, or that's not in the job description? But Mandy's always been willing to step up and try some new things with the purchasing, with the payroll, do all that other stuff. It's just a breath of fresh air that I can count on her to step up. And also what Dave was saying, being kind of that face when people come in and really caring about the people, not just standing there until the transaction's done and then you say, okay, bye. And there's somebody just the other day where he's basically giving Mandy his life story. And we were all kind of sitting back outside of the view. It's like, should we save her, say something? But then we could tell Mandy really cared about this person and was able to help them. And it's just that attitude and that caring is something that we need and something we got to keep around here. So we appreciate Mandy stepping up and doing this new position. Hopefully she's around for a long, long time. Mm-hmm. And we can keep her happy because she's really valuable to me. So thank you.
Speaking of stepping up, Mandy, would you like to come forward for the oath of office? If you raise your right hand, I state your name.
I, Mandy Lucas,
Solemnly swear that I will
solemnly swear that I will
support the Constitution of the United States,
support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and the Charter and ordinances of the City of Loveland,
and the Charter and ordinances of the City of Loveland,
and will obey the laws thereof,
and will obey the laws thereof,
and will faithfully discharge the duties
and will faithfully discharge the duties
of utility billing clerk upon which I'm about to enter.
of utility billing clerk of which I'm about to enter.
Congratulations.
I would just like to thank Dave and Mark and Chris and everybody involved with giving me this opportunity. In September, I'll be here 10 years, and it's just been a great place to work, and I've enjoyed every minute and look forward to taking on this new position. So thank you.
Gotta have a picture.
Yeah, this is when the mayor usually has to remind if people don't want to stay for the rest of the meeting, that's fine. But
Looks like they got them.
I think they did get it already.
Should do that.
That was cool. That was a lot of.
Why not? Yeah.
The payroll.
We'll work on that.
Okay, this is the portion of the agenda where we have open forum. I believe we have one signed up. Nick Connor?
Good evening. Thank you for your time. I'm Nick Connor. I'm a 6th grade teacher at LIS, and Mr. Hart said I had 2 minutes, so I'm going to go fast. That was a joke. A really bad joke. All right. I'm here to talk about the America 250 resolution that we kind of got on here in a hurry. The state of Ohio in 2026 is basically doing a big birthday party for the United States of America, so the 250th celebration. As part of that, they're doing a bunch of different events, providing a bunch of new resources to communities, to cities, to kids, and we want to be a part of that. So in order to do that, we have to pass a resolution. First, we have to be a community, officially a 250 community, and then from there, we want to apply for a grant. They're giving out several $5,000 grants that help to fund, again, more experiences, more events, things like that. Our overall goal there would be just to give our kids more experiences, provide more resources. They've got things like virtual field trips that kids will have access to. They've got things like they've got a 12 monthly theme throughout the year that we could do as part of the school district, as part of the city. Just another opportunity for our kids to be able to plug into Ohio history, our country's history, and the community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Vice Mayor.
Go ahead, Mr. Hart.
Hey, I just wanted to thank you, and I wanted to piggyback on what Mr. Connor just said. This is another excellent opportunity for the school district and the city to be working together to bring more tax dollars from outward back into our community. And quite frankly, it's part of a school district's broader approach moving forward to bring tax dollars through grants back to the district. And more importantly, actually, as Mr. Connor outlined very well, provide opportunities for our kids. It's an excellent opportunity for the city and the school district to work together.
Okay. Thank you for being here.
And you don't have to stay.
We have a couple of sets of minutes before us. The first one is the minutes of November 26, 2024 special city council meeting. Does anyone have any changes or modifications that need to be made to those minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve them.
Second. Read the roll, please.
Mr. Goodyear?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mr. Ori?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Phelps?
Yes.
Mr. Ping?
Yes.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
The second set are the minutes from the actual regular meeting of November 26, 2024. Any comments, questions, changes, modifications?
Motion to approve those.
Second. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mr. Ori?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Phelps?
Yes.
Mr. Ping?
Yes.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mr. Goodyear?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Okay. We move on to a second reading of ordinances. Do you want to introduce that?
Ordinance to make appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the State of Ohio, December 31st, 2025.
And I believe that's you, Mr. Medlar?
Yes, sir. So this is our 2025 budget that was discussed at our last meeting. We have no changes from the last meeting, so if anyone has any questions, I can address that.
Any questions from council?
Make a motion to approve the motion.
Is there a second?
Don't usually do
It's a ordinance.
it. Just a call, roll call.
It's just roll call.
Oh, it's
Okay,
a
just roll call.
This is a second reading.
You're right.
Mr. Ori?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Phelps?
Yes.
Mr. Ping?
Yes.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Ordinance 99 is adopted by a vote of 6-0.
So you want to read the next ordinance?
Ordinance enacting Chapter 906, Tree Maintenance, Protection, Preservation, Removal, and Restoration of the City of Loveland Codified Code of Ordinances.
This likewise was discussed at the last meeting, and I believe you gave an
I
introduction
don't
to
have
it.
any updates. Sent a copy over to the Tree and Environment Committee, and they have a copy. And again, we thank both committees for being so involved in this.
Any further conversation or communication needed? If not, call the roll, please.
Vice Mayor Phelps?
Yes.
Mr. Ping? You nod. Yeah. Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mr. Goodyear?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mr. Ori.
Yes.
Ordinance 100 is adopted by a vote of 6-0.
The next ordinance is related to what we just passed, so go ahead with that one.
Ordinance adopting section 111.09 tree fund of the codified ordinances of Loveland.
Any discussion needed on that? Otherwise, please call the roll.
Mr. Ping. Mr. Bateman.
Yes.
Mr. Goodyear.
Yes.
Mr. Hart.
Yes.
Mr. Ori.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Phelps.
Yes.
Ordinance 101 is adopted by a vote of 6-0.
Then you want to read the fourth one?
Ordinance repealing Chapter 905.13 of the Codified Ordinances of Loveland, Ohio.
Any discussion necessary? If not, call the roll.
Mr. Bateman.
Yes.
Mr. Goodyear.
Yes.
Mr. Hart.
Yes.
Mr. Ori.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Phelps.
Yes.
Mr. Ping. Ordinance 102 is adopted by a vote of 6-0.
Thank you. Now there's some resolutions before us. I believe the first one is regarding the 255th anniversary as well. And Mr. Hart, did you want to? I guess we need it. Do we need to read it first?
Resolution of the City of Loveland, Ohio, supporting the Ohio Commission for the United States Semi-Quincentennial America 250, Ohio.
Okay, Mr. Hart.
Yeah, I would just echo one more time appreciation of Mr. Connor coming out and presenting for us tonight, and appreciation to appreciate Mr. Kennedy's swift action to get this on the agenda. I called him fairly late in the game to get this on the agenda, and he worked pretty quickly to get that on, so it's appreciated. Thank you, everybody that had something to do with it.
Any further discussion, questions? Go ahead.
Just for the record, I'm having a hard time getting it straight between the 150th and the 250th. So I was wondering if Mr. Kennedy might be able to educate me. I know Loveland will be celebrating a 150th birthday
In
the same year that America will celebrate a 250th birthday.
Yes.
And so it's the semi-quincentennial, right?
I can't pronounce this.
That's the USA one, is what it says in the resolution.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd seen that before, the semi-quincentennial.
Yeah, I've not once pronounced what we have coming in 2026 correctly. Misty?
I mess it up too.
So, yeah, so we will be, with 2026, we will be doing the sesquicentennial. And actually, Misty's been we've been working on that. Misty's been working on that since last year.
Yeah.
So, and they meet regularly. It will be a massive event in the city. Will be the combination of Misty's work on the tree lighting and Hearts of Fire all rolled into one massive event.
Well,
Not how I plan on summarizing Misty's efforts.
That sounds amazing, and I hope that it's like what Mr. Hart was saying, and that with this semi-quincentennial resolution for the schools to put it all together for the community to understand that opportunity to celebrate milestones together is important. So, thanks for the education around this.
Okay, the resolution, I think, is on page 39 of the packet. But if there's no further discussion, we can call the roll on it.
Mr. Goodyear.
Yes.
Mr. Hart.
Yes.
Mr. Ori.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Phelps.
Yes.
Mr. Ping.
Yes.
Mr. Bateman.
Yes.
Ordinance 103 is adopted by a vote of 6-0.
No, that's a resolution.
Okay, next resolution. Ms. Clark, do you want to introduce that as well?
Sure. Resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a lease agreement with the Regional Crime Information Center and authorize payment for 11 mobile data computers, docking stations, and antennas for marked police vehicles for the Loveland Police Department.
I believe Chief Gabrielson has.
Yes, thank you, Vice Mayor.
Sure.
Wow. I submitted a memo to council, but I'll just summarize that. So, as all of you are probably well aware, our marked police fleets are actually, mobile offices. We rely heavily on technology. Part of that is our MDC, or mobile data computer, that's within it. We get a lot of information. We get dispatching through it. Sorry, caught with Mr. Dang it.
Look what you did.
We run, people through that. We get information from NCIC on it. We run a number of our our in-car cameras, our flock cameras. We get just a massive amount of information through them. That infrastructure that supports that, the actual hardware that's with it, is very costly. We actually are partnered with Hamilton County, specifically the Regional Crime Information Center, RCIC, who actually run the program for us, and we piggyback off of them. So it is time for those mobile data computers to be replaced. Rather than that fall entirely on us. The Hamilton County Commission has offered 50% cost sharing for the agencies that participate with them. So that's what they're asking for. So we have a lease. We actually don't own this equipment, but we are responsible for 50% of it. So there's a lease agreement that goes with this, and then a purchase for that equipment, our cost share. So this is for the 11 marked vehicles that we have. It's for the actual computer, which if anybody ever wants to try to break anything, they say is indestructible. If you give it to an officer, it probably, that's a good test. So these are very robust, they're definitely commercial grade MDCs. We have docking stations for them, antenna. We knew this was coming. They're actually beyond their lifespan. They actually got a little extra, about a year or two out of those. So we anticipate them to be in service, the new ones to be in service at least 5 years, maybe 6. I think we got about a little over 6 out of these. The budget originally included $43,000 for this project. Our cost share for the 11 computers, the docking stations, the antenna is $30,233.50. That includes everything except installation, which we will handle with the other part of that budget. So we have a resolution before council to authorize Mr. Kennedy to enter into the lease agreement, and then in addition to that, authorize the actual payment for the 11 mobile data computers and all the hardware that goes with it. And I will be glad to answer any questions of council.
Council? Mr. Hart?
I see in your memo we have a 6-year extended warranty in there that looks like it comes with it, and then the extended a different year 4 or 5 warranty. Does that make sense? So are they warranted through the entire lifespan?
Yeah, so the entire agreement that we have, if we have any issues with it other than our obviously negligence, RCIC maintains those for us. So we're able to return them, they fix them, they maintain any updates, they handle all of that. If there's anything specific with the hardware that needs to be upgraded, any software upgrades, anything like that, they are responsible for all of that throughout the lease agreement.
And the lease agreement is 5 years, you said?
Well, it's through the life of the computer, so we anticipate it to be 5 years is what we do. Again, this year, this project actually, the selection of this most recent computer actually went into, I believe, the 6th year, so it's just extended until it actually is replaced. But we anticipate it'll be in that 5 to 6 year range.
That was going to be my final question. There was was this choice made for this particular unit based on what is used in industry standard? Is there
all of these computers are used across the county. The entire anybody that's on the Hamilton County system through RCIC, they formed a committee which was made up of IT specialists, obviously end users, administrators, executives from different police agencies, fire agencies. They actually went through and got requests for bids. They had people come out, they tested them. There were a number of vendors that did supply that they went through and tested, and this was the model that they actually chose. We actually had different configurations. They limited it to 3 configurations. We chose the middle configuration, so we actually could have got one that was a little bit more but had technologies that we don't anticipate using, but it's something we could add down the road if we needed to. They also had one that was cheaper, but it didn't have some of the things that we wanted, so we're in the middle of the road of this.
Perfect. Thank you,
Chief, the old equipment, do we own it or is it leased?
It is leased. We do. Yes, we do. We will return. You know,
So we
at
just
the end of
return it.
this, we return it, and they will dispose of at that point.
I was just wondering if there was any market value for it, or but it's a lease. So
Yes, at the end, it is returned to them. They're responsible for wiping them, and then they are responsible for disposal.
Any other questions? I just note from what we have in the packet, there are a lot of exhibits that weren't attached. I assume the original ones you signed will include the documents that aren't with us. There are warranties in large part.
Yes, so there was an email that referred to the warranty. Again, we are leasing it. The warranty is actually everything is maintained by RCIC. Yes, they did. Their email referred to the actual warranty of the warranty documents. Yes,
Okay.
and the lease agreement does allude to that as well. Again, we are just a lease agreement. We're agreeing to our conditions for this, but they are actually the owners of this. They are required to maintain outside of negligence. But it is our responsibility to get them installed from an approved vendor, which we have. Our Par Safety is who we use exclusively to outfit our vehicles. And they're ready for us to, as soon as we get them, they're ready to go ahead and get them installed for us.
Without any further discussion, we'll go to call the
Mr. Hart.
roll.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mr. Ori?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Phelps?
Yes.
Mr. Ping?
Yes.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mr. Goodyear?
Yes.
Resolution 104 is adopted by a vote of 6-0.
Okay. Ms. Clark, I think you're on the next
Sure.
resolution.
You want me to read it first? or-
Sure.
Okay. Resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Precision Cleaning Systems for janitorial services. The city's been using Precision Cleaning for several years. We propose that our contract is renewed again for 2025. They have not raised their cost this year. So they do clean City Hall, Public Works, and the Safety Center. Both police and fire side of that. So they charge us $2,896 a month, or around $34,750 a year. We pad it a little bit in case we need extra cleanings, because that is in the contract. They will offer those. So the resolution before you is asking that you approve up to $37,500 for cleaning for 2025.
Any questions or comments? Hearing none, why don't we go ahead and take the roll?
Mr. Ori?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Phelps?
Yes.
Mr. Ping?
Yes.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mr. Goodyear?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Resolution 105 is approved by a vote of 6-0.
All right, then there's one final resolution. You want to read that one as well?
I will. This one on the agenda has two typos. I have the year 2024. It should be 2025, and the ordinance or resolution to be signed is correct. So, resolution declaring intent to conduct internet auctions for the sale of unneeded, obsolete, or unfit city personal property, effective January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2025.
Mr. Kennedy?
So this is an end of year action the city takes, and this is just required by law. Once they allowed communities to sell surplus items via the internet, they did require that they establish which websites they would be using each year. City uses GovDeals online auction, but we do also have an agreement with Hamilton County's auction site. I will say that the use of the online sale of surplus goods was largely done only by the police department. It was actually when Sean Hartness, who was here tonight, came on board. He was trained by Lieutenant Corbett on how to do this and has been extremely beneficial in disposing. And I will say that thanks to Sean's effort, the seating area number 3 was largely covered between grants and what Sean was able to sell in surplus items, and the police cruiser that Chris just received funding from that. So it's a very valuable source to this city if we use it. Police is always used, now Public Works is using it. So I wanted to give a little kudos to Sean Hartness, because it cleans up stuff, and we use those. Those are unbudgeted revenues. We earmark them specifically for a park project or a piece of equipment. Otherwise, this is a required end-of-year process, so we can meet with any sales.
Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, why don't we call the roll?
Vice Mayor Phelps,
Yes.
Mr. Ping,
Yes.
Mr. Bateman,
Yes.
Mr. Goodyear,
Yes.
Mr. Hart,
Yes.
Mr. Ori.
Yes.
Resolution 106 is adopted by a vote of 6-0.
Thank you. Then we have reading of two first readings of ordinances. Mr. Medler, yes.
Yes. Thank you, Vice Mayor and Council. City of Loveland is required by Ohio Revised Code to establish fund appropriations, also known as budgets, high enough to be able to pay its expenses and low enough to ensure that it does not spend more money than it has in the bank. The ordinance before you this evening aims to do just that. Overall, the appropriations are being lowered. This is due to timing of some projects. Most notably, example is the reduction of budgets from fire levies for the fire station. We had a placeholder in the 2024 budget for the entire fire station project. Since that kind of just got started pretty recently, we don't need all that funding for this year. So we won't receive our debt funding revenue and we won't be making the debt expenditures. So that's why that budget is being reduced. So the general fund is being increased. That's mostly because the specific way that we budget for the general fund. We don't just say, okay, here's $10 million for the general fund. We have different categories that have to be budgeted for. The general fund actually consists of 18 different budgets. So each one of those has to have enough wiggle room to survive the end of the year and not be overspent. So for example, in the finance department, there's a bucket for personnel. So basically there's a finance personnel budget and a finance non-personnel budget. So I have to make sure that both of those buckets have enough money to get through the end of the year, which is why I'm asking for an increase in the general fund to start through that. So once this is passed, it would go to the Hamilton County Auditor's Office, and that will complete our requirements for the Ohio Revised Code. I'm asking for it to be passed as an emergency because it is an ordinance, but we wanted to wait till the last meeting of the year to do so. If I would have had it at the last meeting for the two readings, as soon as you have something like this passed, the next day somebody comes in and says, oh, hey, what about this? And then we have to start all over again. So that's why this was brought as an emergency to this meeting.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? As an emergency, I assume time is of the essence. We need to pass this.
Yes, please.
Given it's our last meeting, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to read the ordinance, please, Ms. Clark?
Ordinance to make revisions to appropriations for expenditures for the City of Loveland, State of Ohio, during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2024, and declaring an emergency.
Any further discussion? If not, call the roll, please.
Mr. Ping,
Yes.
Mr. Bateman,
Yes.
Mr. Goodyear,
Yes.
Mr. Hart,
Yes.
Mr. Ori,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Phelps.
Yes.
Ordinance 107 is adopted by a vote of 6-0.
Mr. Medley, would you like to introduce the next one?
Absolutely. So recently, House Bill 33 was signed into law by the state of Ohio. This requires municipalities to adopt an updated income tax ordinance or resolution. The City of Loveland goes by ordinance. Some of the requirements were already included by the city's income tax ordinance. For example, individuals under 18 years of age are already exempt from paying income tax. Other requirements are new. For example, there are limitations on the ability of taxing authorities to send non-filing inquiries to taxpayers in certain situations. Also, how much in fine revenue we're able to charge has gone from being up to the taxing organization to being specifically laid out by the state. So this is ordinances that we're going to pass as an emergency to be effective for all of 2024 so that we are in compliance with the Ohio Revised Code.
Okay, so the date is correct on this. This is for the tax year beginning January 1st, 2024.
Correct.
Okay. Any questions or comments, discussion? Okay. Mr. Pink.
I'll give it a shot. Just one question. I think I read in the packet that the changes to the tax provisions for penalties and things is retroactive back to the first year. So that will be refunded to anyone that had a penalty back to the lower amount.
Yeah, if there was a penalty that was applied via the old ordinance, they would be able to contact Rita or our office, and we could.
So
certainly
the burden is on the taxpayer to
Correct.
seek that.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else? Want to call the roll?
I don't think I've read it yet, so let me do that real quick.
Oh, sure. Sorry.
Ordinance amending in its entirety Chapter 184 of the Codified Ordinances of Loveland regarding municipal income tax for tax year beginning January 1st, 2024, and declaring an emergency.
Further discussion? If not, you can call the roll.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mr. Goodyear?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mr. Ori?
Yes.
Mr. Phelps?
Yes.
Mr. Ping?
Yes.
Ordinance 108 is adopted by a vote of 6-0.
Okay. I believe we have a councilmanic worksheet. Mr. Kennedy and Mr. Weinich.
Yeah, I'll run off and Chris can. We actually practice this behind the scenes when you're not paying attention. But so real quick, I just want to give you on some updates from the last one. Will not repeat myself on some other ones. Regarding the develop a plan for the 2 blocks of West Loveland, we are preparing to have the completed study. The city's early in 2024 secured the service of TEC for a study. In the meantime, the turn lane onto North Carl Brown should be installed at any point in time. That will create a left turn lane for traffic coming into the downtown business district. I think we've, Lord knows I've beat it to death, is that there was no one quick fix for the traffic in downtown. It's a bunch of little things, and I think we see that. We see that with the parking lot, with how now traffic can come in from a different angle. What we're trying to see is that giving people more options in traffic when they come into the downtown district. Basically, the theory that not all roads lead to Paxton's theory is certainly a benefit to traffic in the downtown. So what we will be installing a turn lane signal on the turn lane that comes into downtown. This turn lane will blink yellow when no one in. But the nice thing about this lane is it will know when there's someone in that lane. Otherwise, the traffic will flow as normal. The hope here is that this will make that as with the widening of Harrison, this is a much better option. With the widening of Harrison, the extension right into the new parking lot, and the dedicated turn lane, we want to see more. Hope to see more and more traffic opting for that lane, knowing that you'll have about you'll have that ability to make that quick turn. So we're excited about this. We've been planning on this for quite a while. Again, dispersing traffic. Also, Chris and I are working on a pedestrian walkway along Greer Militzer because thinking ahead and knowing what's coming with the crossing, the turn lane. The bike trail crossing project, which is on the cusp, and the redirection of traffic on Railroad. We certainly know that we'll see more traffic down Greer Militzer. To add safety to that, we're working on a pedestrian walkway along Platte Room Record. So we're trying to constantly tweak that. Under market the Chestnut property with an end user, the city commandeered an engineer to do a site readiness for the Chestnut Street property. Their marching orders was, you've just been called by insert name of business, a medical office, who's interested in the Chestnut Street property to secure that property from the city. What would they need in terms of detention, utilities, fill, and all of that? The purpose of this is that we would then be able to advance some of these projects our own through grant funding from a couple agencies that Chris and I have already identified. So that is the ongoing effort to just up the ante a little bit on that Chestnut Street property and get it to even more and more marketable. So that was just recently completed, and Chris and I are assessing that and reviewing some of the different funding options that we have. under the Completa sidewalk connectivity. That is, of course, the final phase of Lovell Miamiville Road sidewalk. Phase 3 was approved. You just approved it as part of your 2025 budget. Osage sidewalks are finally funded and ready to go. And of course, the city was able to announce that's the second phase of the sidewalks that will allow all Warren County residents as far as Butterworth Glen to walk into the downtown district was completed. My last one I have is under Complete All Nisbet Park improvements as outlined in the master plan. We're proud to announce, thanks to Chris's efforts, that he just received funding through the Ohio Department of Natural Resources Nature Works program for the what we would largely call the Western Walkway and the Riverside Swings, which is this is a big step towards completing that project. Chris did a great job, and if you see how many times I interrupt him in the course of days, quite frankly, it's pretty amazing he was able to get this grant submitted. But this is a big step towards taking Nisbet Park to another level, and we did get the land water conservation application finished for the amphitheater. That's all I have. Chris is going to pick up.
We're continuing the advancement of the Loveland Madeira Road corridor. Phase 3, also known as the systemic phase, is from Public Works, the Public Works building to about Castle Skateland. The right-of-way plans for that project have been approved by ODOT, so we are now out getting requests for qualifications for consultants to obtain that right-of-way, so that's moving along on schedule. Phase 1, the Stage 1 plans have been developed. That's the phase from West Loveland to the Valley View roundabout. That's on schedule. And then phase 2, which is the portion in between, we're still out there looking for funding for that section. Continuing to work on the Riverside Drive stabilization with the U.S. Army Corps. We're working through that process with them. This is a project that is being dictated by the Corps. So there's not a huge update in this quarter, but it's continuing to advance along their timeline. Everything seems to be on schedule with that. The last one I have are efforts to remedy PFAS. We submitted the comments that were given to us by the Ohio EPA on the general plan, which is essentially the plan that has to be approved prior to any funding being granted. That is now in the Ohio EPA's hands. We're waiting for response back from them. Once we receive response, which we hope to be approval, we will go ahead and submit for grant funding for the design work on that project. And that's all I have.
Any questions, comments?
Just one real quick. Mr. Kennedy, we've been monitoring that Chestnut property for a while. Are we still in the monitoring phase of that?
We're sort of rounding third. Ultimately, what the city will receive is called an NFA, a no further action letter. And so we really couldn't be filling. But this was quite an eye-opener, our meeting today, Chris and I, with the engineer to do this study. And because I think the message is anything the city can do through grant funding, and grant funding for job creation projects is available. Largely, that's the funding the city received to buy the Brogan property and the Denise property. So anything the city can do to make that property a more desirable use for probably an office or light industrial use is for the better of this city. And until we have an end user and we really know where things are going, we can still work to extend the utilities and get the water, get the sewer main back there, potentially put in the road base, work on the stormwater. So that was what we're trying to do. Meanwhile, that property is being monitored by Patriot Engineering, who is our environmental engineering. At some point in time, they'll submit this much paperwork to the Ohio EPA with the intent to get an NFA. It's ironically, the city has got two of those going on at the same time with over the old mobile station. So both of those are being environmentally. I think that this city made a commitment. Actually, it was Councilmember Blair was on it that we would do these things correctly, and with the mobile station, and we continue to do that. So the wells are in place. knowing that with wells in place, we're not going to be able to start shoving a bunch of fill in there. This is a good time for us to look at other avenues of how we can make this property even more desirable to that end user.
Do you have any idea on timeline or not at this? Not right now.
On that, on when we would probably get the NFA, I'll have to ask Michael because I'd be guessing.
Anyone else? No, I would just observe that, for this particular update of council goals, it dovetailed a lot with the capital improvements that were discussed in our last meeting. And obviously, not all the goals are discussed when you do an update, so this was just partially.
Yeah.
And if city council goals are in 2-year blocks, so if we are finishing. This is the last meeting of 2024, so I would just like to, thank the staff and all those involved in sort of pushing through these goals and following up on them and keeping us apprised. And we look forward to a good year next year, getting more progress on all of them. Okay. With that, I think we have some committee minutes, from planning and zoning. They're in your packet. Any comments about those? Seeing none. We'll move to board, commission, and committee appointments. Misty?
Sure. In your packet on page 170, there's a memorandum from the mayor asking that you affirm some reappointments and an appointment to several boards and commissions who had expiring terms. This is not our typical large pool of expirations, but if you look down the list, everyone is being reappointed. When you get to Parks and Recreation, Mr. Hart would be returning to the Parks and Recreation Board. He served on that for many years. And the only other new person would be Brian Pokova on the Parks and Rec Board. Everyone else is reappointed with your approval.
Okay. Any comments? Otherwise, somebody want to move to approve?
I'll move to approve. Appointments.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Goodyear?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mr. Ori?
Yes.
Mr. Phelps?
Yes.
Mr. Ping?
Yes.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Okay, Mr. Kennedy, Claremont County Tax Incentive Review Council appointments.
So the city, as everyone knows, is located in 3 counties. We have tax incentives through either TIFs or CRAs in all 3 of our counties. That requires the city to be in attendance at each of the 3 county annual TIRC meetings, tax incentive review councils. The way this particular thing is written is that the city manager makes a recommendation with concurrence of council. Once again, to keep this consistent for all 3 of our counties, I'd like to recommend Assistant City Manager Chris Weinich and Director of Finance Mark Medler to serve 1-year terms on the Claremont County TIRC.
Any discussion, any questions? Otherwise, someone want to move to approve?
Move to approve Mr. Kennedy's appointments.
Is there a second?
Second.
Please read the roll.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mr. Ori?
Yes.
Mr. Phelps?
Yes.
Mr. Ping?
Yes.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mr. Goodyear?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. I can open up anything the council would like to talk about in terms of the last couple of weeks since our last meeting. Lots happened in the city. Mr. Hart?
I mean, if I could speak a little bit about some of the planning and zoning. Some of the meeting that we had there was a opportunity to move a project to a public hearing. So that was one event that recently happened, and there was, I believe, planning to be scheduled for the 7th. So for those wanting to keep up with that development, the meeting will be
January 7th.
January 7th, yes. But Christmas in Loveland was the Christmas tree celebration was really enjoyable. I for one, was just amazed at the amount of activities that were here in City Hall. And Ms. Clark mentioned about the janitorial services, and to see how the building was transformed and from a winter wonderland back to the esteemed city chambers was a bit of magic, I'd say. So looking forward to more holiday extravaganza coming up.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I would just quickly echo the sentiments about the past weekend. It was an amazing city staff. Ms. Clark did a fantastic job putting that together. Amazing. Kids were everywhere, running around like crazy people. It was awesome. It was really extremely family friendly event. A lot of kids had a ton of fun. My kids had a ton of fun. It was truly a wonderful event for the city. It shone very well on the city and kind of put us in a good light. It was very well attended, probably the best one I've seen yet, and the improvements that keep getting made year over year were evident. It was a lot of fun.
Mr. Pink?
Just a comment about Warren County Municipal League council members Bateman and Goodyear joined me for the Christmas gathering that happened a couple of weeks ago or a week ago. And the only thing I was wanting to mention about that is that the city is a member of that since we are in 3 counties, Warren being one of them. And it's just always enjoyable to go to that meeting because there's so much positive energy towards Loveland. Every time I go to those meetings, there are questions asked and there are people talking about Loveland and the people that say, oh, I just went to this thing and what's this Frogman thing? I went to this and it was like, what this, So there's, I guess just kudos to all of city staff and everyone involved in all of these events because it's not something that goes unnoticed outside of our community. It's something that is probably part of the reason why you don't see many for sale signs in Loveland, and when you do, they go up for a day or two and they're gone. It's a great place to live, and that was one more reminder when we were at that meeting, even though it was most of it was taken up with other things for the event. Just in the discussions, there were people at the table, interested in Loveland and what was going on here. So it's always a very positive thing to go to those meetings and hear that. And I just wanted to pass that along for everyone else's benefit.
Thank you, Mr. Orr.
Just wanted to say thank you to the staff again for this past weekend. It was great attendance. It was a great event. I don't know how many people got to come down to City Hall and look at the gingerbread houses and the gingerbread bridge.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what I wanted. That was so good. There's a truck. If you didn't see it, it was a truck trying to get underneath the bridge. It has 8-foot signs. The truck's a little taller than the bridge. That was the gingerbread truck. But then also to our public service people, I ran into several of them throughout the event, and the police department, fire department, everybody was everybody was, on spot. So, thank you.
All right. Well, then looking forward, since Christmas is upon us and this month is not concluded, the Christmas in Loveland, which is hosted by the Little Miami River Chamber Alliance, is this Saturday from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. Another announcement involves Christmas light recycling. That's ongoing through the end of January 31st. There's a drop box out in the lobby. Christmas tree pickup will be January 2nd to January 15th. Residents do not need to call to arrange a pickup. You just put your tree at the curb. City offices will be closed on December 25th and on January 1st. And believe it or not, our next city council meeting will not be held for another month, more than a month. It'll be January 14th, 2025. And with that, I would just like to say Merry Christmas to all and to you and your families. Thanks.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Ori?
Yes.
Mr. Phelps?
Yes.
Mr. Ping?
Yes.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mr. Goodyear?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.